What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. Happy Sunday, y'all. It is time for a Sunday chill build. Last Sunday, I did that what did we use? We used the sentry turrets, and I said I was going to do that railgun chill build, and some folks mentioned down in the comments that they'd like to see it. So let's jump on in and get it done. So we are back again on the Wildest West, Chaos 10. We are going to focus heavily on the railgun this time around. We're going to be using defense rate, energy overload, and anti-melee on this one, with mass destruction, and kinetic energy. Now, in addition to that, we are going to have a flame aura of all things in the mix. This flame aura is not all crazy hyper-sharded. We are using defense rate, anti-melee, anti-chaos, and then going destruction, encroaching flames, and deadly strikes to get a little more range out of it. Let's go ahead and build it out. First things first, we want to start right in the center of the core and put down one railgun going in whatever direction you want to go. Let's go this way with this one. After that railgun's down, we want to go ahead and slap our flame aura down as close as we can get it, but off to the front or back of that railgun. I'll get into what that flame aura is all about here in a little bit. And then we want one railgun going that way. Now we're going to go ahead and put 4 more on each side of this stack, 2 and 2 going in the appropriate direction of the lane in which we're facing. Now, we throw that flame aura down as we're building. That way we can really tuck it in there deep and not have to think about it too much. So let's go ahead and get our 2 and 2 in on both sides. And then, of course, we're going to connect all that up together with one glorious buff beam. Now, let's slap that down right about like that. Now, we do want to destruct a pylon these. We're going to have to put that right in the very center, so wherever that center row of railguns was. And then we're going to use a boost aura. I've got some deadly strikes going on this boost aura. Completely unnecessary. If you're using a range pylon with your destructive pylon, you're going to make your boost aura big enough to cover all this stuff without any issues. So this is the base of the build. Now, what's the flame aura there for? Well, we all know about those irritating little skellies. There's a million skellies that come out of these side lanes and walk down this way. Well, the railgun is going after the highest health enemies out there. The skellies are not those, so the skellies can get a little uppity and down into your business. So that flame aura there, remember, fire damage versus skeletons does increase damage. So we've got that flame aura there just to handle any of those little baby skellies that come rolling down. Remember, this one is a full AFK build in mind, so it's a Sunday chiller, y'all. If you're not, if you're playing active or if you're playing in a group that's active, then don't worry about the flame aura there. In fact, don't worry about walls either, and go with 6 railguns going each way. So 12 total railguns instead of 10 if you're playing in a group. Now, we're going to come right up here and basically do the exact same thing with our railguns. We're going to go 5 railguns up top. These, of course, are just not quite as important as far as what kind of spacing or anything you use. And then we're going to give it, a boost aura. Let's give it a destructive pylon. And then we'll throw a buff beam on top. And the base of the build is done. However, since this is a Sunday chill build, we are going to throw in some walls. Now, you can use the walls of your choice. I'm using the expensive walls out there that I love so much. These delightful werewolf commanders. However, with that in mind, these are 50 DU, so you can literally use any wall you want. When you're walling up these, one important thing to note is enemies are not aggroed to your defenses. Enemies are aggroed to the core. You see that we've got this huge gap here. So the enemies, it shows right on the wisps. The walking paths of the enemies, they are not going to come down here and smash on your railguns. They are going to come down here and smash your core. So with that in mind, we want our wall blocking our core not necessarily our railguns. So we're going to put it over like that. We're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to put it over on the core side, not the railgun side. This one up front here, of course, we can just slap it right in the middle and call it good. Now we've got, 120 DU left, and we can get us some walls down. So we can add in some kind of overkill protection by going with big reflect beams here. Something like that, which is completely unnecessary, but if not, you're going to have a little extra DU, so you might as well just do it right. Now, we are concerned about the railguns taking shots, but remember, our core is what the enemies are going to aggro to. So, with that in mind, we are going to get a little bit of railgun coverage in, but then we're going to make sure that we're covering our wall and our core. Now, that leaves us with 30 DU left. You can kind of do whatever you want there. What are we going to do on this one? No real plans. I guess we could have went 2 flame arrows, maybe 1 flame arrow on each side of this, and that would have given even a little bit more reach out into Skellyville. But I'm going to leave that 30 DU up to your imagination. You can do with it whatever you want. For our 200 leftover mana, though, I will just throw a few upgrades around. Now let's go ahead and let it fly. Of course, as I mentioned, this build is the Sunday chill build, so we are not trying to run around and pew-pew. We are watching some Sunday football, chilling and watching a movie, doing whatever the case is, and we're just going to let these guys do their own thing. Now, once again, if you are playing actively, you don't need the walls. If you're playing actively, just watch for what's coming down the lane. Anything getting uncomfortably close, just give it a slap. Since we are playing full chill mode here, we are not going to do that. Additionally, the skellies, it just depends on how fast things are dying in the main lanes. As you see here, my skellies aren't even making it to the flamars. However, if you don't have a min-max setup or whatever, there's a good chance the skellies will, and that's what that flamar is there for, to handle those guys. So we're not having any issue with the skellies, so GG's there. But if you do, you're going to have that flamar there to handle things on the backup end. Yeah, you see those skellies are all getting blasted. Now, the railgun is an absolute powerhouse, and you might ask, well, why not just go in a little cleaner rows instead of so spread out like that with the railguns? Well, the railguns hit like an absolute truck. Additionally, they target the heaviest enemy in the lane at the time, which means if you've got your railguns all right next to each other, you're going to have a whole lot of wasted damage, as you'll have an enemy that can get one shot by one railgun, having 5 railguns blast into it at the same time. So by staggering out their distances from the enemies just a little bit, you are basically dividing up the targets. So if an enemy gets blasted and there's an enemy right behind it, then the enemy right behind it is going to get hit by the next railgun. And that's kind of the sweet spot and the power of the railgun itself. Just be careful of its usage. If you set it up so that every railgun is going to be targeting and firing at the closest enemy all at the same time, you could end up getting a little bit overwhelmed. Because remember, this is right along the lines of any other heavy-hitting single-target defense. We do have that mod giving us a little bit of AoE value to the railgun. However, in its basic form, this is a single-target defense. With that in mind, it can get overwhelmed by large packs of mobs without a doubt. Now, this one, we are going to go ahead and just chillax our way all the way through it. So I will collect up some mana and do a few upgrades. Railguns are an expensive tower. Being an expensive tower, they get a smaller amount of value from upgrades. So although upgrades are going to help you out, you're not getting an absolute ton of juice out of them. So if you don't want to upgrade, you can probably get away with not upgrading, depending on how well your setup is for your chill build. But let's go ahead and jump on forward to wave 5 and then the boss wave, and see how this one winds out. All right, and here we go for wave number 5. Now, as I mentioned, I just kind of did even upgrades. I did throw a few upgrades in up here, but at this lane, you don't really need to. The reason being is everything is coming down this one little stairway, which means everything is just going to get blasted in the face. Additionally, your char or your mod for AoE on your railguns, the energy overload mod, is going to make it so that just any shot up here just nukes the entire lane. So, in fact, if you wanted to add something else in somewhere else, I'm confident you could go with probably 3 or 4 railguns right here as well. Now, we'll just go ahead and spam around a little of the leftover mana, and let's let it fly for wave number 5. Now, the Slakelion is getting stopped really quick, but there is a Slakelion. The benefit on this map is, as you see, sometimes they just decide to kind of walk back and forth a little, and that enables you just plenty of pot shots to get your Slakelion action on. Now, we do have the Orc Warlord coming down. You see, he had to pop his shield way out there. And that's just good stuff, because it will be gone before he even makes it to the wall. And that allows the railguns just to punch him right in the face and get cleaned up the rest of the way. Now, we see those little skeletons I was talking about with the flame aura. They can get a little uppity. They're coming on down, and they're getting roasted by the flame aura as they get down here. So, nothing to worry about with those. And, of course, we got the one enemy, or one of the 2 enemies, that with this build will interrupt our AFKness. And that is a Siege Roller and a Drakenlord. So, Siege Roller coming out. We're going to have to manually kill that guy. If you can make this map Siege Roller friendly, but it comes at a little bit of a price. Let's go ahead and let this captain get handled on his own. There we go, captain down, and now we can just run on over and take care of the lovely Siege Roller ourselves, and then get back over to our little watching perch here. So, good stuff here. We got the skellies rolling out. We're coming down to the end of, or the second kind of sets of mobs that are coming out, and everything should just get completely mowed down at this point. Now, when it comes to the boss wave, the railguns just really shine. Because remember, railguns are designed to have a targeting priority, and they're going to go after the healthiest enemy. So the enemy with the most maximum health is what the railguns are going to shoot at. Well, what enemy in the lane, of course, has the most maximum health? Did you see that little kobold? That Flamar just saved the day there. There was a little kobold that rolled on down to right there. Anyway, the bosses have a ton of health, so the railguns are just going to single target them down and just blast them right in the face. So I've got no worries at all about the boss lane. We just need to get through the rest of this pack. Now, this map is just such a rewarding map to grind, but it does take a while. It's got long lanes. If you're not doing some sort of a spawn camp or killing the enemies further out in the lanes, then you have problems. Now, when I'm grinding this map, I normally will use dragons. I'll usually throw dragons right out here, a stack here, a stack on the other side, and a stack up there. And then that, of course, allows the spawn camp and makes the map run a lot quicker. However, there is something to be said to chill time, and when you want to get your grind on, but you just kind of want to do something else at the same time. If you're wanting to chillax it out, railguns can get the job done for you on many maps throughout the game, without a doubt. So coming down to the end, we got just a few more, some flyers. Actually, it looks like it's just flyers, and that is it. The railguns will pop those off. They actually do really good against flyers too, because the flyers usually are traveling in a pack very close together, with the exception of like maybe some stray kobolds or something like that. Flyers normally are in tight packs, and it makes it perfect. Anytime there's a group of enemies really close together, the railgun is really going to shine then, as it's just going to blast them. The AoE is going to get the job done from that mod. So here we go. We got our bosses. The Slakelion just evaporated. Let's see how it goes here. The monk, I think, actually got killed up on the stair. I'm not 100% positive there because I wasn't watching, but I don't think the monk made it down that stairway, and it just got smacked. So basically, as soon as everything gets into range, oh, it's on. You see the apprentice just getting wrecked. Yeah, that was all of them. So yeah, the railgun is going to shine against the bosses on this map, just from the nature of how they target the enemies. We got us a little daily mission completed. Very nice. We might as well go ahead and check for that snakeskin armor, as that is kind of one of the secondary prizes for grinding this map. Doesn't look like we got it. We got a bow, but not a very good one. But anyway, that will do it for now, y'all. Thanks an absolute ton for watching. Happy Sunday. Get your grind on, but make sure to remember not to burn yourself out. And that's where some of these Sunday chill builds will come in handy for you. But thank you all once again, and I will see you next time around. Take it easy.